Given this grounding, has it changed your outlook on the stock, and what do you think it's worth?
Look, I don't think so. I mean, I think this is a situation where you've got, some short-term costs, but they'll have to fix this. I don't think that the news yesterday changed that. I think you've got, cost to fix the airplane. We've seen reports about an additional sensor, some software fixes. If this is indeed the MCAS system, then you have to wonder, is that what it's going to take? If so, it's probably not an immense amount of short-term cost. The question will be, when do you return to normalcy? When do we get this is old news, and the question of, how many months is it going to take before we're not talking about this, and people begin to assume that Boeing can manufacture airplanes again. And that's an unanswerable question right now, but, it will most likely take place in time.
Hey, Carter, here was what I was thinking through this morning. Look, if it's the MCAS system, let's take a step back further. This is actually an issue where these are airlines that were designed to be much more fuel efficient. As a result, they're more likely to stall out, which is why the MCAS system was invented, right? To prevent a stall out by pushing the nose down a little bit to make the plane less likely to stall if there are problems with sensors. And again, this is all just things that we're speculating at this point without knowing all the facts. But if there are faulty sensors that are telling it that, I think you may have to take it a step back further. Is it a problem with the MCAS system, or is it a problem with the design trying to make it more fuel efficient, which then makes it more likely to stall out?
Yeah, look, in the case of the Lion Air crash, it was a faulty sensor. Adding an additional sensor, as it's been reported in some outlets, would add a level of redundancy. Look, adding the extra thrust that comes with these engines was the reason for the invention of the MCAS system. Systems like this exist on military aircraft in many cases, and so this is not a never before seen sort of update to an aircraft. But there is I think a healthy debate around whether or not pilots of this aircraft had a true understanding of exactly how to use it and what it would do. And I think that's one of the things that if this is the MCAS system, we're going back to reevaluate.
Is that a simpler fix, though, in your mind, that you could go ahead and update the software, make sure that there's proper training out there, and then the problem can be resolved potentially? Of
course. Yeah, if we're not making structural changes to the aircraft, that's going to be significantly less costly.
So in terms of, though, the cost we haven't really talked about, we talked about Norwegian Air the other day. That's basically saying to Boeing, you're going to pay us for every plane that's sitting on the ground and for every seat that we thought we were filling that we can't fill now. Is that going to happen in the United States? Is Southwest going to call up Boeing and say, it's on you?
Look, I think, Andrew, there's a lot of understanding that needs to happen. Boeing wants to work with their customers. They want to do right by their customers. They don't want to see them have too much economic loss. But I think the customers, in many respects, also want to support Boeing because they have a business that's built on utilizing these aircraft to make money, and they have a relationship in many cases that goes back decades. So, do I think that there will be some compensation? Yes. Will it result in Boeing cutting lots of near-term checks? I don't think so. There are lots of forms that compensation can take over a long period of time. And look, I think it's all built on trying to work with your customer and do right by them.
How quickly do you think they have to get these planes back in the air? You remember, think about the Dreamliner. There was about a 3-month period where those planes were grounded.
I don't know. I honestly think that taking the planes out of the sky takes a little bit of the public pressure off, right? We don't have, a social media uproar where people are complaining about the plane. We have less political pressure sort of as an overhang. You have time to go back and evaluate. I think what you got to decide is, what is the public response to build confidence in the aircraft type. And so, I think we have weeks to perhaps months is probably a decent base case scenario. But, they're going to be data dependent.